applications for innovation grants. So there's $10,000 that's been budgeted to help to support the work that's out there, and this is one of the recipients. So we went and now, instead of offering one session, we're offering 4 this year, Club Invention, and they expanded it to the grades 55. So it's awesome, and and I encourage you to keep it going and see how much after school time you can handle.
And I think it'll grow.
Kids.
I really do.
So good job. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on around here, is there an FFA report?
My name is Stacia, I'm the FFA president. We had our 2016 conference on November 15th through the 16th in the Dells, and me as well as 4 others attended it, and we got to learn how to incorporate our individual skills and helping everyone else better themselves and making our chapter better as a whole. And then on the 21st, we had our Poly Pro workshop, which is how to run a meeting properly, and EW River Falls came and helped us out with that. And then we have a adopted family coming up on December 16th, and Miss Passett gave us a wonderful family to help. We set aside $500 to dedicate to them, to help them out as a family, and make sure they have something for their children to look forward to during Christmas. And then in January, we have our halftime conference, where it's in Stevens Point, and our highest officers, 2 of them, go and we learn how to better ourselves as officers and better our officer teams and better help our chapter. And then we have our LDEs, and we are finalizing our teams this week, and we're starting practices. And then our fruit sale, we're starting on delivering fruit next Wednesday, so that should be it, and that's all I have.
What's an LDE?
Speaking contest, you learn how to public speaking, Poly Pro.
All right, thank you, Stacia.
Nice job. Really organized tonight. Excellent.
Is there a student council report? I don't think so.
That'll be coming next week.
Okay. Sure. Moving on back up, we have resolution 1920-123, approval of regular semi-monthly bills.
So
Second.
Motion by Jim, second by Dick. Questions on the bills?
Is that the last of Findor, you know? We take it more.
I think there's one small payment that's still out there.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it's the fee you're waiting until all is said and done. So we're still waiting for some documents and some wrap-up resources from Findorf. So I would think that their final payment would come when those are in hand. So
Any other questions? Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 6-0-1. Joe, any communications?
I have none.
Committee reports? Set up a
we need a policy meeting, and I didn't send it out yet. So I gotta own that. So I need to coordinate that. Janet reminded me earlier today. I'm like, oh my. So yeah, we gotta get going.
Oh, my.
We're okay, but we definitely need this to schedule a policy.
Okay, administrative report.
I just have two things. One is that the board meeting about 2 months ago, we talked about storage in our rental facility here.
Yeah.
So we have done a major housekeeping event there. It's all organized. The administrative team, the directors all went through, claimed whatever we would like to be back in buildings. And everything that's out there right now is organized, and they are taking pictures of the resources, and that'll all get put onto Wisconsin surplus. And at that point in time, we still need some storage is the deal, but we just don't need that large of a space. So we have another smaller location on the north part of town. So we'll probably keep that small space, but this larger one, we should be able to get rid of. So everything's gonna go up on Wisconsin surplus. And at that point in time, your community member, staff member, whatever, it's all there, so they can go to purchase it if they so choose. And after that, then we're looking at donations and then purging, so we can stop having the storage facility. So that'll be this winter, so stay tuned, we'll let you know when it's actually up on the Wisconsin surplus, we'll let everybody know. We'll make a public notice.
Sure.
So, I have paperwork here that Janet helped put together for the declaration of candidacy. So, Navi, there's one of these in here, which we hope you don't turn in, but there's a notification of non-candidacy that you people have to fill out. So,
Nobody doesn't get
Nothing.
it.
so you're not up for election, you're
No.
not getting
No.
this. Right, that's a
I
separate
got 2 more
letter.
years.
Yeah.
You'll just, would just have to write something up, which,
I said, I got 2 more years, that means 3 more meetings
Yeah.
I gotta do.
yeah. So, we have then we have 1, 2, 3, we need 4 packets, which we only need 3.
No, we need 4.
Need 4.
Dick?
3
Yeah.
cities.
One?
3 cities and 1 rural.
There we go. One over to Tatiana. Got it.
Jimmy.
Yeah. So we have the declaration of non-candidacy, if anybody is choosing to not run again, that is due December 27th. And then the declaration of candidacy, that's due on January 7th. So now, some of this, we're on a winter break when people may be choosing to turn things in. So, like that whole, the 23rd through the 27th, most likely people will be on vacation during that winter.
I think we got a longer time this time.
So-
There's a longer time
Yeah,
for the
7.
candidate, the
Candidacy.
Right.
but
Oh, non-candidacy would have to be in.
Right.
that, and if it doesn't get turned in by that date, that gives the people that wanna run longer to
We
file
have
their
to, we have to
papers.
extend it.
Yeah,
And we
so
have-
that's why there's a deadline on there, so it's sort of important to get those papers if you're not gonna run in by that date.
Okay.
So what positions are, Joe? Okay, and the
3
2 new
city and-
people, and then
Yes,
you
we already have
as
4. Okay. So, that's really important. So I have had it in my 10 years where people did not turn in the declaration of non-candidacy and then didn't run, so then we did have to keep it open longer, and it just gets complicated. So people know, this is just, please turn it in. We hope everybody in the room is actually turning in declarations of candidacy, so.
One more thing, Angie, if you file
Notary.
candidacy papers, Angie is here, she's a notary, and she can notarize your, so
Give her
if your
some.
papers, don't sign them until you get here.
Okay.
And she's here from 7:30 to 4 every day, and she will be gone, will be closed the 24th on. We'll be here the Monday, the 23rd. And then she won't be here until January 2nd.
And the declarations of non-candidacy, those need to be certified?
No,
Good.
no.
So then you're okay. So if anybody wants to turn that in. But in the meantime, the nice part is that we will be here with a little window to turn in the paperwork by the 7th. Sometimes we've actually been gone on a winter break during that time. So literally, nobody's around.
I think we got
they're
an
due.
extra 4 or 5 days this year to
Right.
turn in.
well.
And they are available online to, because we're gonna be closed over that time, so if anybody wants to run, all the information's online and they can download the paperwork online.
I'm hoping Norm does not decide to resign, but if he does, that would not be for election, right? That would be an appointment.
That would be an
Appointment for 2 years.
Well, depending.
Yeah,
We want to put it up for election in April.
it's too,
You would appoint?
I don't know if we can put it up for election.
I don't think it'll be on the election here, then.
Because
We've
that's all set up already.
The rules.
We've had to post it all.
That's correct. You're right.
So I think that missed the window. It would have to be an appointment.
Could I ask you a question, Scott, and maybe
Yeah,
indulgence
I have
of the
an
rest of my board members? If I decide to stay, there's a lot of things I can't do yet. Like I have, I've missed a lot of stuff, and I'm not up to snuff on a lot of this stuff yet, but like going upstairs is impossible for me like that, so I don't know, so. But if I don't make some of these committee meetings,
We'll work around your schedule.
okay, like this policy
We'll-
meeting,
we'll
if
still give
I'm
you
on that,
input.
I'll come to the next one, but like I said, I've been out of the loop for so long.
We'll bring you up to stuff.
Okay, well, I
You're
just,
on that.
so, the rest of the board will indulge me in
Oh,
that. That
sure.
might make up my mind. And,
It's okay, no problem. Like, when it comes to the policy piece, it hasn't been that active.
okay.
So
You haven't missed a
there's-
policy.
there's-
Yeah.
yeah,
We didn't have that
You're
many
more up to
building
snuff
committee
than I
meetings
am.
lately.
So-
But there's
Well, you know,
a lot
you're-
coming.
You know, I missed graduation, senior recognition night, the 8th grade. I missed a lot of good stuff, you know. and
Yeah.
I peed away a whole summer. I don't want to do that. I don't know how many summers I got left. So.
And the amazing part is, it's December, and we're talking like 5 months away, some of these things are already.
Yeah.
So time just flies.
Yeah, there's no way I could attend graduation and that.
Mhm.
This-
Don't worry.
Okay, well, I don't want to be on, you know, a burden, so. Okay.
Yep,
You done?
keep it simple. Yep.
Okay. Okay, Becky, you got anything coming up?
Concerts
Concerts?
next week, yep. So next week on Monday, we've got the kindergarten concert. We're running it twice, so we'll do it at 2 o'clock for anybody who needs to attend in the afternoon, and another one at 6 o'clock in the evening. And then sandwiched just between those, at 5 o'clock is our 4K concert. So we bring all the community sites back in. The community sites come in with all of those 4K kids all come together. Each site sings songs, they sing a couple songs together. We're done in about 25 minutes. Empty the gym, bring the kindergarten families in. And then on Tuesday next week, we run 2 concerts that is a combination first grade and second grade concert together. And we'll do that at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock as well on Tuesday the 10th.
All right,
That's
thank
it.
you. Megan?
Last Tuesday, we had 68 parents and grandparents and special adults joining our 5th graders for their thankful reception. The children invited an important member of their family to join them for lunch and then the thankful reception. So that was nice to have parents and special adults in the building. Last Tuesday, we also held our successful first trimester movie fest, which is a celebration for good behavior. Students had the option to pick between 15 different movies and spent the afternoon celebrating all of the good things that are happening at Mayville Middle School. We've also decided as a middle school culture KPI team to offer bi-weekly behavior incentives for our students. This is something that we're going to be working on as the new year graces us. So students will have a monthly character trait to follow. In December, we're looking at respect. So respect in the hallways, respect to staff, and respect to other peers. And if students do not receive a referral for that character trait, then they are part of the bi-weekly behavior incentive. We are also celebrating lots of concerts coming up. Tomorrow night at the high school, we have the band concert. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Thursday, there will be the choir concert for the 6th through 8th graders. That's at 6:30 at the high school as well. And then the 19th, wrapping up the season, is our 3rd through 5th grade concert at 6 p.m. at the middle school gym.
All right, thank you. Lee?
Just a couple of quick items. I just wanted to compliment the FFA food science class who hosted Thanksgiving dinner last week. I didn't get the final count of how many we served, but the kids really seemed to enjoy it, and I thought Jake and his team did a really nice job with that. And I think they collected, between they and the Interact Club, the amount of canned food items we collected in that 2-week period we gave to the food pantry was probably one of our largest in many years. So that kind of kicks off our giving season. Our concerts are tonight, instrumental concert at 7 o'clock tonight at the high school, and then a week from now, our vocal concert will be at 7 o'clock as well. And tomorrow night, we also have a home basketball game, so it'll be really our first time with the new layout of the building to host multiple events. So it's kind of, Tom and Nenning and I were talking, it's kind of excited to see how that goes with a full house, literally, and two spots in the building tomorrow night.
Are you working on the sign for the restroom?
Yes, Chris Pasick actually is working on that. That's an
Signs
update.
for the outside.
We have some,
So many people ask where the restroom is.
we're working with Mike Tush, who is our school photographer, on some
Is that
signage.
flashing?
Just a little sign that says the restroom.
Yeah, the thing is, the wall's
so
a concrete
white.
block,
It's so white, you don't see the hole.
and it's tucked to it.
So we are actually, like Chris is laughing, we're working on that, so that's what I have, John.
Thanks, Lee.
Nice bathrooms with their seat.
That's how they stay nice.
Dick and I and Jenny were at the FFA the Thanksgiving dinner last Monday. I thought it was very, very well put on, and this food was outstanding. I think the kids really
And it
learned
was
a
all
lot.
from scratch, you know,
Yeah.
it was nothing, they had a, and what was cute, the worst thing they didn't like was their hats. They didn't want
Good service.
No, I mean, they started early, I think they,
what, 5:30 or
5:30,
whatever?
yeah.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
kids in early to cook.
Yeah, and I think they cooked 4 turkeys.
Made pumpkin pies.
Yeah, they made, they were given the instructions from Jake. They had, each one had to bring a recipe in, and then Jake was responsible to go get the ingredients for that, for them to make. So they all had to make their own recipes, and yeah, the desserts were outstanding.
Real butter-free,
Yeah,
made from scratch, yeah.
yeah, so it was, and Jake was very pleased with the outcome, and plans on doing it again next year. Okay, let's move on down to alternative education report, Mr. Zarna.
Okay. And I will introduce Chris Pasick, our high school counselor, and Mr. McFadden. We're going to tag team this. It's not a real long presentation, but for a while we've had some changes in this program, and this is a new position for Max. So Mr. McFadden, Ms. Pasick, why don't you come up here? Is it playing nice with you, Scott? Or?
No, super tiny.
Yeah, but if you I think if you forward it, it'll.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
It should advance here, Scott. So if you
This is a Prezi,
yeah.
and I hit present. So.
There we go. Okay, all right.
Nice.
Chris, help yourself.
In 1992 is when I came to Mayville and worked with Steve Bushke, who was the superintendent at that time. And through his wisdom, at that time, at risk was considered a grant, write a grant, get the program. And in Steve's wisdom, he felt that it was so important that it was not going to be a grant program, it was going to be staffed without a grant. And so, again, I was very lucky to work with him in getting this going in our district, and with the support of the board and the support of him, it was populated by Marty Magowski, who retired a few years ago. And I just think it's really been an important piece to our high school, and students being served for all the different needs that they have that don't always fit into the traditional education. So that's a little bit about the history starting in 1992.
If you get that button there. Okay, Mac, why don't you address the...
Areas of opportunity for the students, we have credit retrieval, which basically means that they failed a required course, and then through various reasons they are then taking the course with me, either through summer, and if summer didn't work out for them, then they can take it during the regular school year as well. Online learning, we have the WVS program, so like if the course isn't offered as a sit-down teacher, traditional method, we have that available to them online. Advanced placement, which is mainly what a lot of the online is. Study skills, pretty self-explanatory. Dual enrollment options. And then we have now with targets going on, some of the opportunities for kids is to focus more on targets and proficient targets. I mean standards. So.
I understand targets from my job perspective. What are we talking about from your job perspective?
Let's say for freshman English, LCI English, they have 14 targets.
Okay.
So, or 14 standards, I should say.
So we're looking at the same thing as KPIs, things like that?
I think so, yes.
All right, good.
So it's essential learning outcome. What do we want the kids to know, be able to
Okay,
do?
we're good. Really tied back to curriculum. It is.
Yeah.
And while, does everyone know Mac and Ms. Pasick? Because if not, I'll have them spend 20 seconds and bring you up to speed of who they are and how long they've been here and what they've done. Mac, why don't you?
This is my 20th year here. 19 years previous to this year, I was teaching English. So then Mr. Zarna offered this opportunity for me to jump into this, because last year I was sort of doing double duty. I was teaching English and then overseeing the alternative ed program. And so it came open and I was like, yeah, I'll do this. Time for a change, time to
Oh,
move
I
on.
didn't know you weren't doing English anymore.
So, yeah, that's 19 years doing English, now I'm doing this.
Okay.
Right.
And I'm Chris Pazik, and I came to Mayville in 1992 as a high school counselor. So I've been here since 1992. And prior to that, I was at Lodi in Deerfield, and have just loved this district and doing all the creative things that are good for kids. And so it's a great place to work.
And they are part of our SST team at the building, so there's a weekly meeting, so.
What's SST, sorry?
Lots of acronyms, right?
I know, I gotta
Sorry.
ask, I don't
We're great at
know.
this.
It's our student services team.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll meet weekly, and those two are the heart of it, where they'll address any student that could fit into this program, in addition to any other student who is brought by a teacher in terms of recommendation. Could be behavior, academics, what have you. Each building has their version of the same team. But I want to compliment at a time Mr. McFadden and Ms. Pasick, because the amount of time that they worked to build this program, because we occupy the library now. We use basically the far east end of the library where a lot of things go on. And that was not the original plan for that space nor for this position, but when we had to make some staffing decisions on supervision of the library, Mr. McFadden stepped right up and said, here, I'll take the library and this program, and it's really helped out. So, Mr. McFadden, I'm going to give this one to you, and if you want to give a quick ditty on what all these mean.
Yep. Learner's choice is the terminology that, if you remember, Ms. Dauberpool used to teach history at the high school a couple years back. And the PL program rolled into the high school. We didn't want to call it PL anymore. We wanted to call it something else. We call it Learner's Choice. So we gave it a different name for it. So that's, right now, we have a freshman group, a sophomore group, and a junior group. So the junior group is the first group that came with us. So we have 19 students currently enrolled. Edgenuity is an online service. Ranges from kids taking civics to biology to personal finance. A lot of some of the electives that they need to get through. A lot of credit retrievals used through Edgenuity. Wisconsin Virtual School is mainly the AP kids right now. So we have AP Psych, AP US History currently going on. And right now I do have an 8th grader that I'm working with who's moved up, that I get to be his coach now because he can move the coaches around. So I'm working with him, so we've added that in. Northwest Central Talent for Development.
I can speak to that. That's an online vendor we use out of Evanston, Northwestern University down in Illinois, that we use for our advanced placement math, specifically statistics and calculus BC.
And then the other alternative is a variety of things such as the pass booklets. Like the girl that just came from Nicaragua, I have a past U.S. history and Spanish, and so that's what we're using with her. Also, this is where I get to be creative because I know a lot of the history standards, the English standards, and other standards and targets that we use, that I can start designing courses and kind of go to other teachers and go, what do they need to know? What do I need to get them through so that we can, with fidelity, and we can sleep well at night, that this kid's earned this credit. And so we come up with various things like, right now I have a student who's working through novels, and I'm finding novels that will suit his interest. And then go through it with him and make sure that he's hitting those targets and standards, and I can sit there and, like I say, sleep well at night and say, he's earned this credit. So, but that other alternative is that really that past stuff and my way of being creative and trying to find a way that get them to learn and earn credit.
Chris, before we get to course offerings and programs, could you just walk the group through how a student is placed into Alt Ed and how we monitor, and the outcome at the end is to be graduate?
Our number one goal is high school graduation for all our students. And so I really believe that our alternative education program has allowed us to do that, and it's really expanded and has grown since 1992. Our kids have changed, our education system's changed, and I believe that Mayville has been really future-minded in how we make those changes with what's going on with our students today in education. We identify kids that have tried the regular education route. It has not been successful for them for whatever reason. Mac and I will sit down and talk to students, find out what their area of need is for education. And like you just explained earlier, there's some kids that reading just isn't their forte. It just is not their strength. And Mac has found ways of books that meet our standards, meet our targets, and kids that just refuse